As a sector, that all universities and tertiary institutions do e-learning as soon as possible. In this regard, the ministry has already put in guidelines for implementation of e-learning.
It all began in March 2020 when Uganda National Council for Higher Education released guidelines to tertiary institutions and universities on the adoption and use of e-learning as a measure to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Several schools followed suit, and before we knew it, e-learning had become the new normal right from nursery through to university.
A number of institutions have been able to adapt to the challenges, and they're also preparing for the future. We know that today we have COVID-19, but you never know, even after COVID-19, there could be another pandemic.
We caught up with some of those who took on e-learning at their institutions.
They've become not so much dependent on the teacher, and therefore the move of having what we call student-centered learning is becoming a reality.
It has its coldness, but then it has its flexibility. A child walks out of their bedroom and they're into their class. I'm sure they don't mind that.
However, even with the positive impact, e-learning came with some challenges for learners and teachers at different levels. Among these were the expense and skills to start using e-learning tools.
It's expensive to just start online learning. There are skills that you need to have. There are disciplines that you must have, etiquettes to transact a communication that will yield feedback that's concrete, that's helpful.
Not everybody can be at the same level. Yes, it has negatively impacted on others that people have not really paid attention during some kids in that part, especially those ones who lose focus and head to other things.
Parents whose children were using e-learning platforms expressed mixed reactions on its impact to their children.
When it comes to particular subjects, I feel like there's a bit of more that should have been done. There are particular subjects that need more of the teacher physically there than the online bit.
The e-learning is worse. When they were physically in class, I think it was better. It's more practical. You're seeing the teacher-child involvement.
With Uganda ranked among the countries paying some of the world's highest internet costs, it is no wonder that it was one of the challenges that affected e-learning.
We had challenges with data at times.
Getting the best service provider was also a challenge in a way or two.
Government has also been urged to reduce on the cost of internet, especially for all learning materials to support education.
Getting the internet bandwidth down, it will go a long, long way to support education.
Exposure to the internet poses a danger to children who are unsupervised. This means that parents must watch and guide their children even as they study online.
These are digital children. They can explore anywhere. The moment you leave them alone there, after their studies, what are they doing? They are probably accessing wherever they want to go. They are in YouTube, they are on Google.
Not all learners were fortunate to continue with their studies due to the lack of access to digital tools. Professor Lubega believes that government is currently working towards leveling the ground to make sure all pupils and students across Uganda have access to e-learning tools.
The Ministry of Education, as I speak, they are finalizing, or they finalize what they call the digital education digital agenda, which is aimed at trying to level the ground across institutions of learning.
Even with a few challenges, educators believe the objectives to keep students learning during the lockdown were achieved. These say teachers' and learners' performance can confidently be assessed using online platforms.
Some of them that used to be shy are getting bolder. They are doing more adventurous, more courageous things. I see some of them presenting projects, and yet in the past, if we were in class, they would shy away from them.
We achieved it because we have not stopped teaching and learning. Since COVID came, students have been promoted. They've moved to the next classes. And by next year, we shall have even students graduating.
Making e-learning more accessible to learners across the country remains a priority if all learners are to benefit from this new normal. But how far is government willing to go for all learners to make this dream a reality? Linda Ndumwami, NBS, Live at 9.